What if I told you the next big Marvel event wasn't just another superhero showdown, but a cosmic horror story, pitting Earth's mightiest heroes against the galaxy's most perfect organism? Imagine the Avengers, not fighting Thanos or Kong, but the relentless, acid-blooded xenomorphs from the Alien franchise. And what if the architect behind this nightmare crossover was none other than the master of complex, high-concept storytelling, Jonathan Hickman? Let's dive into what could be the craziest, most terrifying comic book event ever conceived: Aliens vs. Avengers. Hickman isn't a writer who just throws characters together for a quick brawl. He builds worlds. He weaves intricate plots. His stories are events in the truest sense of the word. Remember his work on Avengers and New Avengers leading into Secret Wars? He spent years laying the groundwork, building tension, and making every moment count. Now, apply that same meticulous planning to an invasion of Xenomorphs. This wouldn't be a simple bug hunt. This would be a strategic, psychological, and existential war for survival. Picture the opening scene. A Weyland-Yutani, deep-space exploration vessel, long thought lost, crash lands in the savage land. SHIELD sends a recon team, maybe led by Black Widow and Hawkeye, to investigate. They find the ship, torn apart from the inside. They find strange, leathery eggs. Before they can report back, all communication goes silent. That's how a Hickman story starts, not with a bang, but with a terrifying, deafening silence. The Avengers are called in, and they step into a trap that has been waiting for them. Hickman loves playing with power dynamics. So, who would be the key players? Tony Stark would be obsessed with the xenomorphs' biology. He DC'd their perfect organism status as a challenge to his own intellect and technology. He'd be racing to create new armors, new weapons, triggering to out-engineer evolution itself. But his arrogance could be his downfall. What if a facehugger managed to latch onto an Iron Man suit? Could it breach the armor? The very thought is chilling. Then there's Captain America. Steve Rogers is the ultimate strategist. But how do you strategize against an enemy that doesn't have a leader, that doesn't have a political goal, that only exists to propagate and destroy? He would be pushed to his absolute limit, trying to rally a terrified populace and a fractured team against a foe that embodies pure, unthinking hostility. His classic Avengers Assemble cry would have a desperate, darker tone in this story. But the real horror would come from how the xenomorphs exploit the hero's unique beauty. Think about it. A Hulk xenomorph, born from Bruce Banner, an unstoppable force of rage, combined with the cunning and lethality of a it would be a monster capable of tearing the entire planet apart. What about a Thor's, a creature with Asgardian strength and the ability to survive in the vacuum of space, spreading the hive across the cosmos? Hickman would explore these horrifying possibilities, turning the Avengers' greatest strengths into their worst nightmares. The story would expand beyond just Earth. Hickman would connect it to the wider cosmic landscape. The Kree, the Skrulls, the Shi'Ral, these powerful empires would suddenly face a biological threat that their advanced technology is ill-equipped to handle. We could see entire fleets consumed, entire planets turned into hives. The Avengers would have to forge uneasy alliances with old enemies, realizing that this isn't a fight for territory or power, but for the very right of any sentient life to exist. The Brood, Marva's own xenomorph-inspired race, would suddenly look like amateurs. Maybe they'd even be the first to fall, establishing the xenomorphs as the true apex predators of the Marvel Universe. A Hickman-penned Aliens vs. Avengers wouldn't just be a fight. It would be a story about hubris, survival, and the terrifying nature of life itself. It would be filled with his signature data pages, showing infection rates, hive expansion maps, and Stark's frantic, desperate research notes. It would be a slow-burn thriller that erupts into pure, unadulterated cosmic horror. It's the crossover we never knew we needed. And in the hands of a master storyteller like Jonathan Hickman, it could be one of the greatest comic book events of all time. What do you think? Which Avenger would you be most terrified to see get the xenomorph treatment? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into comic book what-ifs, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.